Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are tackling a pretty fascinating topic, inventions that have really shaped the world.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely some game changers for sure.
And you know what's really cool about this one?
What's that?
Well, you specifically asked us to focus on the inventions themselves.
Uh, I see. So less about the inventors, more about the actual creations.
Exactly. So we're going to kind of shift our perspective a little bit and delve into these incredible inventions. And who knows, maybe we'll uncover some accidental discoveries along the way.
You know, it's funny how we always tend to put the spotlight on the who behind these big innovations, right? But when you start looking at the what, you really start to see just how unpredictable invention can be.
Okay, so let's get into it. First up on our list, the internet. I mean, can you even imagine life without it now? We're constantly connected, sharing information, working, entertaining ourselves. But here's the thing, the internet we know and love today, it actually came from a very different need.
Totally different need. Picture this, the Cold War, right? Nuclear war is a very real threat. And the Pentagon, they needed a communication system that could survive even a nuclear attack.
Oh, wow.
And that, my friend, is where the internet was born.
Seriously.
Hmm.
From that is mind-blowing that something so essential to us today emerged from such a pretty scary situation.
It really makes you think about the ripple effects of innovation, right? Like you never know where a simple idea might lead.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about movies. I mean, think back to how basic they were in the beginning. It was really just a way to record moving images, a far cry from the massive cinematic experiences we have now.
Oh, for sure.
And it's so easy to take them for granted, but even this podcast we're doing right now wouldn't be possible without that very basic invention.
Absolutely not. And speaking of inventions that completely revolutionized entire industries, we got to talk about Nikola Tesla.
Oh, yeah?
This guy was a visionary responsible for alternating current,
Uh-huh.
the electric motor, the remote control.
Tesla, he's always been one of my favorites, just brilliant. But, there's also a bit of a sad side to his story. He really struggled to get recognition and financial success for his work.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a common theme throughout history, right? So many brilliant minds overlooked or underappreciated.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder how many other Teslas are out there right now.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's move on to something a little bit more uplifting. Flight. I mean, humans have always wanted to fly like birds,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Think about all the myths and legends about Pegasus,
Yeah.
the winged horse. It took a lot of ingenuity to turn that dream into a reality.
Yeah. From those early hot air balloons to the Wright brothers' first powered flight. I
Yeah.
mean, human flight, that's just a testament to how we always push the boundaries.
Yeah, I bet witnessing that first airplane hop, that must have been amazing. Scary, but amazing.
Oh, for sure.
But some of the most important inventions, the ones that have really made a difference, are those that directly target human suffering. And when I think about that, two names come to mind immediately: Pasteur and Fleming.
Absolutely. Those are giants in the medical field. Louis Pasteur, his work on vaccination and pasteurization completely changed how we understand disease and hygiene. And then you've got Alexander Fleming, who stumbles upon penicillin. I mean, that discovery alone has saved countless lives.
Talk about the power of science to help people right.
Absolutely.
It makes those everyday things like washing our hands or getting a vaccine, it puts it all into perspective.
It really does. You don't think about it until...
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about another big name in history. Benjamin Franklin. Of course, everyone knows him for the lightning rod,
Right.
but he actually invented way more than that.
Bifocals, the Franklin stove, even some of his experiments were kind of like early explorations into what we now call nanoscience. The guy was a true polymath.
It blows my mind that someone from the 1700s could have such a huge impact on our lives today.
It shows you that innovation really can transcend time, right?
Totally. Okay, so speaking of transcending time, let's jump back even further and talk about Archimedes. This guy was inventing things like pulleys, levers, even catapults.
Yeah.
And they were all based on these core principles of mechanics and engineering that are still used today.
Absolutely. And he didn't stop there. He also delved into fluid mechanics.
Fluid mechanics.
Yeah, basically the study of how fluids behave. So think about the flow of water, the pressure it exerts. All these principles are still essential today.
Wow.
Designing everything from dams to airplanes. I mean, it's amazing how it all connects.
It really is. It's like these ancient principles. They laid the groundwork for so much of modern engineering.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And it really makes you realize that innovation isn't always about inventing something totally brand new, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about looking back, rediscovering those fundamental principles, and finding new ways to use them.
Exactly. And speaking of looking back, let's fast forward a bit to Thomas Edison. I mean, this guy was a true invention machine. The phonograph, the light bulb, motion picture camera.
Oh yeah, Edison, he wasn't just a brilliant inventor, he was a brilliant businessman too.
Oh, yeah. He knew how to make things happen.
He really understood that for an invention to be successful, it has to reach people. It has to solve a problem.
He had a knack for finding those everyday problems and coming up with really practical solutions. That's probably why so many of his inventions are still around today.
Okay, well, how about this for a genius? Leonardo da Vinci. We all know him as this incredible artist, but he was also an amazing inventor. Helicopters, tanks, even early designs for submarines and robots.
Oh, yeah. His notebooks are filled with these crazy ideas way ahead of their time. Flying machines, armored vehicles, even diving suits. It's like he could see the future of technology.
Talk about a powerful imagination, right?
Yeah,
Da Vinci, he wasn't held back by the technology of his time.
not at all.
Okay, so let's talk about someone who really pushed the limits of human knowledge. Thales of Miletus. He's considered one of the fathers of philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize that he's also credited with inventing mathematics.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right, oh, and someone actually invented math. I thought it was always just like a thing.
Right. It's a pretty wild concept. Thales, he was one of the first to shift away from those mythological explanations and instead use logic and reason to understand the world. He came up with these basic geometric principles, and some people even say he predicted a solar eclipse.
Really? That's incredible. So he basically created this whole system for understanding the world based on logic and observation.
Exactly. And that's how we went from relying on myths and legends to having a way to measure, calculate, and understand the universe. It's a pretty big deal.
Wow, yeah, that's mind-blowing. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here from the internet to math. And what really stands out to me is that a lot of these inventions, they came from really simple ideas or even accidents.
It's true. The best innovations, they often come from unexpected places.
Yeah, like those aha moments.
Exactly. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? By focusing on the inventions themselves, you really see how those small steps can lead to huge breakthroughs.
So it makes you wonder what seemingly simple things around us today could lead to the next big invention.
Right. What problems are we facing that could spark the next revolution? What if the answer to some global challenge is staring us right in the face?
It's a question worth thinking about, that's for sure.
Absolutely, because the one thing we've learned from this deep dive is that human ingenuity, it's limitless.
Yeah, even when we face setbacks or impossible ideas,
Yeah.
there's always that spark of creativity. And it really makes you think like anyone can be an innovator.
Right.
Right.
That's absolutely right.
That spark of creativity, it can come from anywhere. And sometimes those most unexpected ideas, they end up making the biggest changes.
Totally. So we need to encourage people to be curious, to explore, to not be afraid to question things.
It's like we've been talking about it all along. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs, they happen when we least expect them. I mean, who would have thought that needing a way for the military to talk to each other would give us the internet?
Right.
Or that a moldy petri dish would lead to penicillin?
Perfect examples of how just paying attention and being in the right place at the right time can change everything. It's not always about planning. Sometimes it's about being open to what's right in front of you.
So as we wrap up our look at these accidental inventions, what's the one thing you really hope our listeners take away from this?
I hope they walk away feeling like anything is possible. The world is full of amazing inventions, so many of them discovered by chance. And to me, that's what's so exciting. It means there's still so much out there to find, so many problems to solve.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that we're all part of this story of innovation. Every day, new ideas are popping up, new connections are being made, and who knows what incredible discoveries are just waiting to be found.
Exactly. So stay curious. Keep asking questions and never underestimate the power of those aha moments. You never know, you might just stumble upon the next big thing.
This has been an amazing deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey. And remember, that next big breakthrough, it could come from anyone, anywhere at any time. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep innovating.